first in high definition from the station on your side. This is WAVY News 10.
We're starting things off with live Super Doppler 10 radar.
And as storms move in, 10 on your side is monitoring the threat of severe weather.
Don Slater is busy in the Super Doppler 10 Weather Center, but he has the latest information for us. What do you have?
Well, we've got that tornado watch in effect for our entire region right now, and we are seeing one lone thunderstorm warning. It's for Cape Hatteras itself, and that is in effect until for about the next half hour as this one lone thunderstorm roars on through. That'll be out to sea very, very quickly, and we've been watching that area, and we had a thunderstorm that had all kinds of power with it, and then it fizzled out a bit. Now it's fired up again as it's hit land again over the Outer Banks. But again, for most of the populace, this is the area that we're watching. You can see it extending from the Middle Peninsula toward the Richmond area, where we have had some reports of hail to around an inch and a half into that area. Now, we're watching that area very carefully. And also, these have kind of refired up into here and are still capable of firing up again because there's a little bit of a patch of blue right into here. In other words, skies have cleared off. We've got cloudy skies over our area. That kind of inhibits some of the rainfall from developing. But if you got a little area of sunshine out ahead of it, that can fire up some of these thunderstorms, and that's what we've really seen. Right through the southern edge of Richmond, you saw that one lone thunderstorm there. That is the hail-producing one, quite likely. Now, lightning with this, yep, we're likely to see some lightning out of that. 59 lightning strikes in the past 5 minutes out of these. I've got all kinds of icons on here, and we're really watching for the circular ones here, the corkscrew ones. Those are indicating the possibility of some strong winds with this one. And this one to the east of the Richmond area, especially right into here, kind of watching that one. Again, it's out of our area, but again, we'll watch that one carefully as it moves northeastward very, very rapidly to Gloucester County, Matthews County, a little into Lancaster County even. We are seeing some thunderstorms, but nothing severe. And there is some action again farther to the west, right along I-85. So it's a distance away yet, but it is going to be moving on in. So we'll want to watch this very, very carefully for new warnings popping on up. The other story is the fact that we broke the record high. 80 was the record high. We hit 82 a little earlier on. And look at the wind gusts right now, 53 miles an hour. So again, lots to see on Super Doppler 10 Live, and a very active next few hours. We'll tell you about it, more about it in just a few minutes.
In the meantime, we're going to watch the highways now in Hampton Roads via our WAVY traffic jam cams.
And if trouble pops up, we'll let you know.
10 on your side has crews across Hampton Roads tonight, too.
10 on your sides, Ann McNamara is live at Buckrow Beach in Hampton. Ann, how are things looking out there?
Nicole, you hear the expression, it's the difference between night and day. Well, that's what we just saw here at Buckrow Beach. We arrived here probably 30 minutes ago. It was a gorgeous day. The sun was shining. We had all of these kids playing. Now people are sort of heading to their cars, and that's because you can see the clouds are really thickening up. The wind is really picking up. There's sand really whipping across this beach. And let's talk a little bit about those thick, heavy clouds. We have seen these roll in just the last 10 minutes. You can see they look ominous. People are definitely looking up toward the sky, starting to consider whether it's time to go home after enjoying this beautiful day. And the water, whitecaps. We talked to the Coast Guard earlier. They said they do have crews on standby if the winds reach a sustained 40 miles per hour. That is the measuring point. Of course, we haven't reached that yet. They said they were expecting between 25 and 35 miles per hour. But again, 40 miles per hour sustained. You heard Don say gusts are going much higher than that. But when you hear him talk about that clearing and then these cells moving in, we saw something similar to that. We had that clear blue, beautiful sky, the sunshine, and now you can see behind me the ominous clouds. Live in Hampton, I'm Ann McNamara, 10 on your side.
All right, let's take a look at the skies above Portsmouth through Tower Cam 10. You see clouds there.
That's right, and you can let us know what you're seeing by sharing your pictures with us through reportit@wavy.com. Now we're going to go further west. This is Richmond. Don was talking about this earlier. Hail is falling in the Short Pump area.
In Illinois, the weather event is snow. Look at that. Hundreds of plows hit the streets. They were a slushy mess for the morning commute. We'll show you more of the winter weather across the nation coming up tonight at 5:30.
A man from Norfolk's accused of killing his 2-month-old daughter. He will stay in jail. 21-year-old Antoine Carter faced a judge today. Officers found little Hazel Carter unconscious inside a Breezy Point apartment on Glen Myrtle Drive. She was rushed to CHKD, where she died a short time later. A medical examiner says she died of asphyxia or loss of oxygen. That could mean choking, strangling, or suffocation. Police are investigating her death as a homicide. In Smithfield, a community remembrance for a life so young, a girl just 4 months, one of twins. Police say she died at the hand of her father. In about 2 hours, people will gather at Smithfield High to remember Piper Malinsky. Deputies say Robert Malinsky and Mary Leanne Webb abused their twin daughters. Malinsky and Webb are behind bars. Her twin sister, baby Ella, is in protective custody. A couple accused of neglecting their 9-month-old twins will go back to court next week. Police arrested David Miller and Jessica Evans in Portsmouth. Their babies are with social services.
While it's important to always report signs of child abuse, they can be hard to see in babies as young as the ones we've been talking about. So tonight, 10 on your side, Stephanie Harris is going to show us how to spot a potential abuser.
And Nicole, when you see these people accused of child abuse or neglect, you may think, yeah, I know their type. But experts say abuse doesn't just happen in poor families and in bad neighborhoods. We ask a parent educator at Chesapeake Regional Medical Center how we can spot a potential abuser. She said there is one good test.
You could just go back to asking them if they've ever had any instance of road rage, because it's that out of control anger in the snap of a moment that can allow a family to abuse their children.
Now, here are some warning signs to look for in yourself or in other people. You feel emotionally disconnected from your child. You feel overwhelmed day after day, and you just want to be alone all the time. Meeting the needs of the child seems impossible. Now, if you feel this way, ask for help. And before you say, hey, wait a minute, what if this is the middle of the night? What if there's nobody around that I can call and this baby's been screaming for hours? Then what? Well, I'll tell you what. Coming up tonight at 6, we have tips on how to safely get your baby to stop crying. Stephanie Harris, 10 on your side.
And people are at higher risk for abusing their children if they've ever been abused themselves, have a drug or alcohol problem, mental illness, or are under a great deal of stress.
Hampton police are investigating the shooting death of a man found behind a Hampton restaurant. Officers found 24-year-old Ryan DeMary in Render in the Town Center Cafe, at the Town Center Cafe on Cunningham Drive around 2 o'clock in the morning. No word on suspects yet, but if you have any information about this, call the crime line. Portsmouth police arrested this woman accused of shooting a man in the stomach. She's 24-year-old Latoya Sexton and faces malicious wounding and gun charges. Officers found the 26-year-old victim around 8:30 last night outside an apartment on Merrimack Drive. He is in the hospital now, listed in stable but critical condition.
Controversy on the campus of Old Dominion University tonight. Reaction to plans for separate housing for gay students at 5:30.
It's been a year since a private company took over several golf courses in Virginia Beach. So was the decision on par? Hear from the city, the company that runs them, and the people who play them.
And we're on your side with another birth control recall, the problem that could cause an unintended pregnancy.
And Don Slater and Jeff Edmondson are hard at work, as you can see, continuing to track what's going on outside.
Keep it here for the latest Super Doppler 10 weather update. A 10 on your side, consumer alert. There's another birth control recall tonight. Glenmark Generic says the pills could be in the wrong order in 7 lots of birth control pills. That means they may not work. The India-based drug maker has not said how many pills or packages are being recalled, but Glenmark says they were distributed between September 21st and December 30th. The packaging error made the lot number and expiration date harder to see. Earlier this month, Pfizer announced a similar recall.
Governor Bob McDonnell says he backed away from a controversial abortion bill because he believed it would face constitutional challenges. For the first time, McDonnell discussed the legislation at a panel hosted by journalism group Politico.
I still support the bill. That never forfeits a governor's right to make amendments through the process. During that, we realized there was different kinds of ultrasounds, and so what I recommended the General Assembly, and they adopted the other day, is let's make the requirement for the abdominal ultrasound. We found out from the medical community that in most cases, if the abdominal ultrasound isn't sufficient, that on their own they already do other kinds of ultrasounds, but I didn't think it was proper to mandate invasive ultrasounds.
Now, the original bill drew opposition from Democrats and protests from women's groups.
U.S. Senator Kay Hagan is urging voters to oppose a proposed constitutional amendment that would prohibit gay marriage in North Carolina. Senator Hagan says it would harm the Tar Heel state's ability to recruit businesses and jobs and have negative consequences for families and children. The amendment on the May 8th ballot says traditional marriage would be the only recognized domestic legal union in the state. The state law already defines marriage as between a man and a woman.
A different direction in Maryland, where lawmakers have approved same-sex marriage, and now the bill's opponents have taken the first steps to bring this to a referendum. Maryland's governor says he plans to sign the legislation approved last night. He'll do that next week.
A car stuck on the railroad tracks. Two Good Samaritans jumped in to help. We'll show you what happened seconds later in an incredible close call caught on tape.
And private companies now run several golf courses once run by the city of Virginia Beach. So was it a drive straight down the middle or a shot in the sand trap? A progress report from all of the players.
And a live look at Super Doppler 10 Live. You can see the movement of everything, generally eastward and northeastward. There is a warning just touching the northern fringe of James City County. That in effect until 5:15. But again, we also have a warning on Cape Hatteras. We'll update Super Doppler 10 Live for you and show you all of this stuff moving on in just a couple of minutes.
All right, we are taking a live look at Buckrow Beach in Hampton, where you see all those clouds there, and it's windy. You can hear the wind.
We are monitoring weather moving into our area. Don Slater and Jeff Edmondson, both in the Super Doppler 10 Weather Center. I want to take this opportunity to tell you about a wind restriction now, level 3 on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. That means only cars can pass over at this point.
Also, Norfolk International Airport is reporting a few delays, so if you're expecting someone this evening, be sure to check. Well, Virginia Beach figures it got a hole-in-one after allowing a private company to come in a year ago to maintain 3 of its 5 golf courses.
Revenue is up, and so is the number of golfers. 10 on your side's Ava Hurdle joins us live with that story. Ava?
Tom and Nicole, we're at Kempsfield Greens, where golfers say this is a welcome change. Frank Jones is a regular at Kempsfield Greens, where he comes to play, putt, and chip.
Yes, I've been playing that here 30 years, I guess. And there's tons of changes.
Changes since the city brought in a management company last year to maintain it.
New cart paths, of course, and the greens are getting a whole lot better. There's a work in progress. It's going to get better come spring.
Virginia Beach Golf Management also maintains Red Wing Lake and Bow Creek golf courses. They've lowered the rates to play. For instance, on weekends in season with a cart, it was $36. Now it's $33. And that has increased the number of golfers hitting the links and revenue, too.
Upwards of $600,000 of revenue increases. Now, in turn to the city, what Virginia Beach Golf Management brought to us was the ability to provide improvements for our golf courses, which we haven't been able to provide as a city entity. And also, they are providing us with rental income for our properties.
That revenue has also provided new golf carts, maintenance equipment, and cart paths.
Now, through this public partnership, we'll be able to fund a lot of the capital throughout the years to be able to do projects like redoing greens over the year, redoing the irrigation systems.
The improvements are not lost on golfer Steve Halsey.
You know, they've maintained it fairly well through the years, and I think the guys that have it now are doing much better than they have for the last few years. So hopefully a brighter future.
Right now, construction is wrapping up on the clubhouse at the Red Wing Golf Course, and we're told that at the Bow Creek Golf Course, where work will begin there once rec center improvements are done. We're live in Virginia Beach. Ava Hurdle, 10 on your side.
And the city's 2 other golf courses, Stumpy Lake and Virginia Beach National, are maintained under separate operating agreements.
Soon you'll have to pay the price to get around Hampton roads, and next week, 10 on your side, we'll be talking tolls. On Monday, starting on WAVY News 10 today at 4:30 a.m., Cheryl Tan will explain how they'll work, where they are going to go, and how much it could cost. Then beginning on WAVY News 10 at 5, is there anything that can be done to put the brakes on tolls in Hampton roads? Governor Bob McDonnell says it's a done deal, but we did some digging, and Andy Fox found that may not be the case. Everything you need to know about possible tolls Monday on WAVY News 10.
Now, in high definition, your Super Doppler 10 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
And we've got to look at what's going on into the region. We've got a brand new warning out now for Accomack County. The storms haven't hit Accomack County quite yet, but they're moving in very, very closely. And we want to show you what's going on with this. My colleague Jeff Edmondson and I will be covering what's going on in the whole situation. I want to give you an idea as to how this storm is doing. And again, there's where it is right now. We'll storm track, and it's moving generally eastward at about 50 miles an hour. So toward Parksley in about 35 minutes. Bloxham in about 38 minutes. Tangier Island is right. It's knocking on your door, quite obviously, in terms of what's going on with this particular storm. That is a brand new storm, again, in terms of a warning, and that is in effect until 5:45 this evening. Now, for the bigger picture, again, and the warning, by the way, for Cape Hatteras has expired. The storm has moved on out to sea. The rest of the Outer Banks, you're covered by some light rain, and that tends to inhibit the chances of severe weather, at least for the time being. So I'm not concerned about you, but this line, you can't miss this. This moved through the Richmond area with some hail and some strong winds. Now, these corkscrew areas that we're looking at to the northwest of West Point, to the west of Tuano, for example, we're watching these very carefully. Up toward Kilmarnock, not quite as bad in terms of the thunderstorms right now. Obviously, as we move into Accomack County, we can see some problems out of that. And again, there are some lined up farther to the west, all the way on out to I-95, and really all the way on out to I-85, way on off to the west. So we got some time yet before this really starts to move in. Again, there's our brand new warning for Accomack County, that in effect until 5:45 this afternoon. Now, one thing that is good is the fact that we've had a little bit of cloud cover during the afternoon hours. We saw a high of 82, and it's been very warm. Haven't seen sunshine. Sunshine tends to really pop these storms, so we'll kind of watch out for that. The Middle Peninsula, you're getting hit first. Then we'll see the peninsula, Williamsburg, obviously, then the peninsula, and then the south side. I think the south side is going to be a little bit closer to around 7 o'clock. Pick up the loose objects. The winds are going to be the main factor. They already are. The winds are very strong, but they'll be even stronger within severe thunderstorm. Keep family members in touch. Make sure you keep in touch with them, or keep them at home, because again, you don't want to be out on the road in this situation. For a look at the rest of our weather and our forecast, I give this over to my colleague Jeff Edmondson for a look at what's going on with our forecast. Jeff?
Thanks, Don. Yeah, well, you can see on the time lapse here, the wind has really been the biggest deal. Now, temperatures, they're sitting in the 70s in many spots across Hampton Road. 72 degrees Newport News right now, Virginia Beach about 73. It's been a very warm day. Remember, that average high temperature for today is 52. We had a record high today, 82 degrees. It beat the previous record that was set back in 1985. Temperatures right now, we're still toasty out there, 74 degrees Norfolk, 75 in Williamsburg. Watching that line of storms that's just off to our northwest right now, and that's going to be that area that's going to continue to move off to the east as we go throughout the evening. Now, wind gusts have been very high too. Like Don was saying, make sure you have things that are loose tied down. I have a Facebook fan that also commented how his garbage bins blew all the way across his yard with those gusts that we saw right around 40 miles an hour near Elizabeth City. So here's these showers and thunderstorms still moving off to the east right around 50 miles an hour. Many areas off to the west right now have already seen some storm reports with areas that have seen damage of tree limbs and also just things generally blowing around. So here's that future track. You can see how that thing is moving across the area. But watching the forecast for tonight, though, the storms are going to move out tomorrow. We should have plenty of clear conditions. A lot of sunshine. Sun still continuing into Sunday. Temperatures, though, a lot colder than where we're going to be from today. About a 30-degree temperature drop, 58 degrees on Monday. And then Tuesday we'll have a high temperature right around 58 as well.
It was a day of wild weather across the country. Tonight at 5:30, we'll take you from the snowy Midwest to the windy South to show you the extreme weather.
Police in riot gear broke up a crowd, so why did hundreds of people create mayhem at a Florida mall? Limited edition Nike basketball shoe, and some people will do anything to get a pair.
Leave now or you will be arrested. Leave in an orderly fashion.
That's right, anything. This is Orlando, Florida, where police had to break up a riot. Hundreds showed up to Florida Mall to buy the $220 shoes. Police, including mounted patrols, asked people to leave. Now, despite this dramatic scene you're watching, police say they made no arrests.
Good Samaritans rescued a woman whose car got stuck on train tracks. A surveillance camera captured the whole thing. Take a close look now. The woman was driving with her sister when she turned on what she thought was a road and got stuck on the tracks. Two men passing by stopped to help. That's when they heard the train. The woman got out just seconds before a train hit the car there. No one was hurt.
A military milestone, how a North Carolina native made history today at Naval Station Norfolk. And 10 on your side continues to monitor weather from the Super Doppler 10 Weather Center and, of course, this outside.
A live report on the conditions in Virginia Beach coming up tonight at 5:30.
Another chapter of naval history shaped right here. The first African-American woman commanding an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer. Commander Monica Washington Stoker relieved Commander Brian Sorensen on the USS Mitchell during a ceremony at Naval Station Norfolk. Stoker served as the ship's executive officer since June 2010. She is from Greensboro, North Carolina. The weather delayed the departure of the USS McFall. The ship was supposed to leave today, but will now deploy from Norfolk Sunday. That guided missile destroyer and 275 crew members will deploy to the pirate-infested Gulf of Aden. The McFall returned from its last deployment in August of 2010. And stay with us, more weather coverage coming up right now on WAVY News 10 at 5:30.